I made a mistake. I regret marrying you. The person I really love is Remi. So I packed my bags, walked out of our honeymoon suite, and drove home without saying another word. I am Paxson Wells, 30, 1M, investment advisor here in Charleston. Just happened 3 days ago, and I am still processing this nightmare. My now wife Winslow, 29F, is an event planner. We have been together 3 years, and I genuinely thought I had found my soulmate. Wrong on that one. Our wedding was perfect. Seriously. Everything went exactly as planned. Beautiful ceremony at St. Philip's reception at the Ocean House. All our friends and family there celebrating. Winslow looked incredible. I was on cloud 9 thinking about starting our life together. Even the weather cooperated. Not a single thing went wrong all day. We got back to the honeymoon suite at the Bellman Charleston place around midnight. I was expecting, typical wedding night romance. Instead, Winslow immediately hit the minibar hard, like really hard. I had seen her drink before, but this was different. She was nervous, almost frantic. When I asked what was wrong, she just kept saying she needed to calm her nerves about being married. That should have been my first red flag, but I figured wedding day emotions, lot of pressure, big life change, all that. I tried to be supportive, maybe help her relax, but she just kept drinking and getting more agitated. After about an hour of this weird energy, I finally sat her down and asked what the hell was really going on. That is when everything exploded. She started crying, then laughing, then crying again, told me she had been thinking about him all day during our wedding. I asked who him was, and she said Remington Sterling Remi, apparently some musician she dated before me who I had never even heard her mention. She said watching me at the altar made her realize she was making the biggest mistake of her life. Then came the words that are burned into my brain forever. I made a mistake. I regret marrying you. The person I really love is Remi. He is the one who makes me feel alive, not safe. I settled for you because you are stable and he wouldn't commit. But my heart has always belonged to him. She went on for another 10 minutes about how she chose security over passion, how she never got over this guy, how she thought marriage would make those feelings go away, but instead it just made them stronger. She kept saying she loved me as a person, but wasn't in love with me the way she was with him. I sat there in my tux, listening to my bride of 8 hours tell me our entire relationship was her settling for second choice. The woman I thought was my soulmate explaining in detail how another man was the one who actually had her heart. You know what I did? I got up, walked to the closet, and started packing. Didn't yell, didn't argue, didn't try to talk her out of it. Just packed my stuff while she kept talking, trying to explain herself, saying she was confused and needed time to figure things out. When she realized I was actually leaving, she switched to panic mode, started grabbing my arms, begging me to stay, saying she didn't mean it, that she was just drunk and scared. But here is the thing. Drunk words are sober thoughts. She had just told me the truth about our entire relationship, and I wasn't about to spend my life fighting for someone who loved another man. I finished packing, looked at her one more time and said, I hope you find whatever it is you are looking for. Then I walked out of that hotel room and drove home. Left my wife on our wedding night because she confessed she married the wrong guy. The whole drive home I kept thinking about how calm I felt. No rage, no tears, just this weird clarity that walking away was the right move. What kind of man begs someone to love him when they have just admitted they are in love with someone else? My phone's been blowing up since then. Winslow, her family, some of our friends, everyone wanting to know what happened, where I am, trying to get us to work it out. I haven't answered any of it. What is to work out? She loves someone else and married me anyway. But here is what is really messing with my head. Phoenix, my best man, was still at the hotel when this went down. He came to check on us around 1 a.m. because the front desk called about disturbances from our room. He heard enough of her confession through the door to know what happened. Now he is telling people I abandoned my bride without context, and I don't know if I should set the record straight, or just let people think whatever they want. Phoenix just called. Turns out Winslow spent the rest of the night in the hotel bar telling everyone who had listened that I couldn't handle her honesty and left because I am insecure. The lies are already starting, and I am wondering if anyone's going to believe my side when this all comes out. Update 1. First off, Phoenix came clean about what he actually heard. Turns out when he got to our door that night, he heard way more than he initially let on. He listened to pretty much her entire confession about Remi and me being her safe choice. The disturbance the front desk called about was her literally throwing things at the bathroom door while screaming about how she ruined everything. Phoenix felt guilty about his initial reaction because he thought I had just bailed without reason. Now he is telling everyone who will listen that I handled it like a man and that any guy in my position would have done the same thing. His exact words were, she basically told him their whole relationship was a lie on their wedding night. What was he supposed to do? Fight for someone who just admitted she loves another dude? The reactions from everyone else have been all over the place though. Journey Blake, Winslow's maid of honor, keeps calling me saying I misunderstood. That Winslow was drunk and emotional, and people say things they don't mean when they are overwhelmed. She is convinced this is all just wedding day nerves blown out of proportion. My sister Sage is absolutely furious, but not at me. She is mortified that our family name got dragged through this mess. Her words, I am embarrassed to show my face at the country club. Everyone's talking about how the Wells boy got humiliated by his bride on his wedding night. This reflects on all of us. Winslow's mother Lennox has been the most persistent. She showed up at my place yesterday begging me to work this out and not let one mistake ruin what we built together. She kept saying Winslow made a foolish error in judgment, but that she loves me and wants to fix this. When I told her what Winslow actually said, word for word, her face went white. She had no idea about the Remi situation. Speaking of our wedding guests, the story has spread like wildfire through our social circle. I am getting texts from people I barely know asking if it is true that I left my wife on our wedding night. Some are supportive, saying they would have done the same thing. Others think I overreacted and should have tried to work through it. The opinions are basically split down gender lines. Most of the guys get it. Most of the women think I should have stayed and fought for my marriage. But here is the kicker. I finally looked up this Remi guy on social media. Remington Sterling, 32, some indie folk musician with about 3,000 Instagram followers. Looks exactly like the type of guy who would be commitment phobic, artsy photos, always traveling, that whole free spirit vibe. I can see why she would be attracted to the excitement versus my boring investment advisor life. What really got me was his most recent post from 2 days ago. It is him with his guitar on some beach in California with the caption, "Sometimes the best thing you can do is disappear for a while." Posted the day after our wedding. Coincidence? I doubt it. Winslow's been calling me non-stop. First it was panic, then anger. Now it is back to desperation. Her voicemails have gone from please, come home, we can fix this to you, or being cruel. I made a mistake to I love you, not him, please believe me. The progression has been wild to listen to. Yesterday's voicemail was different though. She sounded completely broken, saying she tried to call Remi to get closure so we could move forward, but he wouldn't answer. She said she realized I was right to leave and that she had destroyed everything good in her life for a fantasy. I almost called her back after that one, almost. But then I remembered sitting in that hotel room listening to her explain in detail how she settled for me. How do you come back from that? How do you rebuild trust with someone who admitted they married you as their backup plan? The weird part is how calm I still feel about all this. My friends keep expecting me to be devastated or angry, but mostly I just feel relieved, like I dodged a bullet. Better to find out now than 5 years and 2 kids later, you know? Though I gotta admit, the practical stuff is a nightmare. We have got wedding gifts to return, vendor payments to sort out, and everyone keeps asking about honeymoon refunds. Journey offered to help with the returns since she was the maid of honor, which is honestly pretty cool of her considering she is Team Winslow. But the question everyone's asking that I cannot answer is, what happens now? Do I file for divorce? Annulment? Do we try counseling like her mom wants? Do I just cut my losses and move on? Phoenix thinks I should talk to a lawyer first, get my options. Sage thinks I should make Winslow sweat a little longer before making any decisions. Journey thinks we should try therapy before giving up completely. What is really eating at me though is this nagging thought. What if she really was just drunk and scared and said something stupid? What if I am throwing away 3 good years over one terrible night? Then I remember her face when she was talking about Remi. The way she lit up describing how he made her feel alive. That wasn't drunk rambling. That was truth finally coming out. Just got off the phone with my dad. He said something that hit me hard, son. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Guess that settles it. Winslow just texted me asking if we can meet for coffee tomorrow. Says she has something important to tell me about Remi that changes everything. Part of me is curious, but I am wondering if this is just another manipulation tactic. Update 2 cannot sleep, so figured I would update you guys. That coffee meeting with Winslow happened, and holy shit, you are not going to believe what came out. I almost didn't go. Spent the whole morning going back and forth about whether meeting her was even worth it. Phoenix said I was crazy to give her another chance to mess with my head. Sage said if I went, I was being weak. But something about that text saying she had news about Remi that changed everything got to me. We met at this little place downtown where we used to go during our early dating days. Probably not the best choice because it brought back memories of when things were good between us. She looked terrible, like she hadn't slept in a week, eyes all puffy, wearing sweats instead of her usual put-together look. She started off with the apologies, same stuff I had been hearing in voicemails. How she made a mistake, how she was scared and overwhelmed, how she said things she didn't mean. I let her talk for about 10 minutes before cutting her off and asking about this important information she mentioned. That is when her whole story changed. Turns out after our wedding night disaster, she did more than just try to call Remi. She actually drove to his apartment here in Charleston. Yeah, apparently this guy lives like 20 minutes from us and I had no idea. She went there to get closure and figure out her feelings. What she found was Remi with another woman, not just hanging out, they were clearly together, intimate, couple Y. When Winslow knocked on his door, he answered in just boxers with this girl in the background, asking who was at the door. Winslow introduced herself as his friend from before and tried to talk to him about their history. His response: "Look, that was years ago. I am with Sarah now. I don't know why you are here, but you need to leave." Then he literally shut the door in her face. She sat in her car outside his building for 2 hours, watching this Sarah girl come and go from his apartment like she lived there. Completely shattered her fantasy that he was this tortured romantic figure who had been pining for her all these years. But here is the part that really got me, she said when she was confessing her feelings on our wedding night. She wasn't just drunk. She had been texting with Remi for months leading up to our wedding. Months. She said it started innocently around the time we got engaged, just reaching out to old friends. But it turned into this emotional affair where they talked about their relationship, what could have been, all that. She showed me some of the texts on her phone. This guy was absolutely playing her, telling her he missed her, asking about her relationship with me, saying things like "you deserve someone who makes you feel alive, and I hope you are happy, but if you are ever not," classic manipulation stuff. The night before our wedding, he sent her a text saying he had been thinking about her and wondered if she ever thought about him. That is what triggered the whole breakdown on our wedding night. She thought it was a sign that he wanted her back, but when she showed up at his place, desperate and confused, ready to blow up her marriage for him, he treated her like a crazy stalker, told her he was just being friendly in those texts and never meant anything serious by them, said he didn't know she was taking it so seriously and that he has been with Sarah for over a year. So basically my wife destroyed our marriage over a fantasy relationship with a guy who was just enjoying the attention of an engaged woman. He never had any intention of actually being with her. He was just playing games while in a committed relationship with someone else. The kicker: when she told him she had confessed everything to me on our wedding night and left our marriage for him, his exact words were, "Dude, that is crazy. I never asked you to do that. You need to go back to your husband and fix your life." She has been crying in her car outside his apartment building on and off for the past week, watching him live his normal life with Sarah while her entire world fell apart. She said seeing them together made her realize how completely she would misread everything. Now she wants me to take her back because she sees clearly that I am the one she really loves. And Remi was just an illusion. She said losing me made her realize what was real and what was fantasy. I sat there listening to all this and felt nothing. Maybe some pity, but mostly just exhaustion. She had been emotionally cheating on me for months, confessed her love for another man on our wedding night, and now wants me back because her backup plan fell through? I told her that even if Remi had welcomed her with open arms and they had ridden off into the sunset together, it wouldn't change what she did to me. The issue isn't whether her feelings for him were real or not. It is that she was willing to confess her love for another man on our wedding night, that she was texting with an ex for months while planning our wedding, that she married me while her heart belonged to someone else. Her response was that she was confused and made mistakes, but that she loves me and wants to fight for us. She said the fact that Remi rejected her proves that what we had was real and worth saving. I asked her a simple question. If Remi had answered that door and told you he loved you too and wanted to be with you, would you have come back to me? She couldn't answer, just sat there crying. That is when I knew this meeting was over. I told her I needed time to think about everything she had told me, but that I honestly didn't know if there was a way back from this. The hurt was too deep, the trust too broken. She begged me not to give up, said she would do anything to fix this. Counseling, therapy, whatever it takes. But how do you rebuild a marriage with someone who is planning their escape during your engagement? Walking back to my car, I felt this strange sense of closure, not because I forgive her or because we are getting back together, but because I finally understood what really happened. It wasn't just wedding night nerves or cold feet. It was months of emotional cheating that culminated in her choosing him over me on the most important night of our lives. The only difference is he didn't choose her back. Phoenix was right when he said I should have stayed away from that coffee meeting. All it did was confirm what I already knew, that leaving was the right choice. The only thing that has changed is now I understand just how right I was. Got a call from Winslow's mom asking if we talked and if there is hope for reconciliation. When I told her about the months of texting with Remi, she went completely silent for about a minute. Then she said, "I am so sorry, Paxson. I had no idea it went that deep. Even her own mother is starting to see this isn't something you just work through." Final update first, the legal stuff. I filed for annulment rather than divorce. My lawyer said we had grounds since the marriage was entered under false pretenses. Basically, she was already emotionally involved with someone else when she said I do. The annulment was granted last month. Legally, it is like our marriage never happened. No financial obligations, no alimony, clean slate. Winslow contested it initially, wanted to try marriage counseling instead. But her lawyer eventually convinced her to let it go. Turns out all those text messages with Remi that she showed me actually helped my case. Evidence of the emotional affair made the annulment pretty straightforward. The social fallout was rough for a while. Lost some friends who thought I should have tried harder to work things out, but I gained clarity about who really had my back. Phoenix has been solid. He actually helped me move to a new apartment closer to downtown. Sage was furious about the family embarrassment for months, but she has come around to supporting my decision. Winslow's life basically imploded. She lost her job at the event planning company. Apparently, having your own wedding become the town's biggest scandal isn't great for business when your job is planning other people's weddings. Last I heard, she moved back in with her parents and is working retail somewhere. The Remi situation got even weirder. About 2 months after our coffee meeting, I heard through mutual friends that he would actually broken up with that Sarah girl. Rumor was Winslow kept showing up places where she knew he would be, trying to restart conversations about their connection. Guy basically had to get a restraining order to get her to leave him alone. She went full stalker mode, showing up at his gigs, messaging his friends, even tried to get Sarah's phone number to explain the situation. It was pathetic to watch from a distance. The woman who destroyed our marriage chasing after a guy who wanted absolutely nothing to do with her. As for me, I am doing good. Really good, actually. Started dating about 4 months ago. Nothing serious at first, just getting back out there. But last month I met someone special. Her name's Ember Sinclair. She is a nurse at Musk. What I love about her is that she chose me first, not as a backup plan, or because someone else wasn't available. When she looks at me, I can tell I am not competing with some fantasy guy in her head. Ember knows the whole story about what happened with Winslow. Instead of seeing it as drama or baggage, she said it showed her that I have self-respect and will not fight for someone who doesn't want to be fought for. She said any woman who would confess her love for another man on her wedding night wasn't worthy of the man she married. Work has been going well too. Got promoted to senior advisor in March, which came with a nice raise and better clients. Bought a new place in the French Quarter, smaller than the house Winslow and I were looking at. But it is mine and it doesn't have any memories attached to it. The weird part is how rarely I think about what happened anymore for the first couple months. It consumed my thoughts. Now it feels like something that happened to someone else. I run into people sometimes who ask about my ex-wife and I have to remind myself they are talking about Winslow. A few people have asked if I have any regrets about walking away that night instead of fighting for the marriage. Honest answer, none. 0 regrets. What was I supposed to fight for? The right to compete with a fantasy for the rest of my life. the chance to always wonder if she was settling for me. I think what happened taught me something important about love and self-worth. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. When someone tells you they love someone else, don't try to convince them to love you instead. When someone confesses they settled for you, thank them for their honesty and move on. Winslow wanted the man who wouldn't choose her over the man who did. She got exactly what she asked for. Nothing. Meanwhile, I learned the difference between being chosen and being settled for. Now I am with someone who actually wants to be with me, not someone who is making do until something better comes along.